recorded, and I will let our presenters introduce themselves.
Hey, I'm Laura Silkoff. I'm the after-school director with the school. We have been using this database since late 2004 through youth services. I've been very pleased with it, for this whole year. It is very user-friendly, for us to use. And the customer service is also very good. It's always very responsive and get back to us almost immediately most of the time. It collects all the data that we need for our APR reports. It eliminates us having to go through every single record and calculate it itself. It automatically calculates, again, all those things that are required by the APR, plus many other reports or data that you may be interested in but aren't necessarily required by the feds or the state. So we have been very pleased with it over the last 9-10 years, and have no intention of changing or looking elsewhere for anything else. So I guess that's my opening statement.
Well, thank you so much, Loris. My name is Shamila, and I am one of the representatives for CitySpan. We go by the name youthservices.net. And yes, Loris and Quentin has been a client for ours for very long, and thank you for the kind words. I'm going to go ahead and get started and pretty much cover the 21C portion of the database. Log on in. So each user is given a login, a separate login, so that they can log in with their own account, and then when they call, we can easily track who's giving us calls and assist you accordingly. So once you have a login and you log into the system, this is our sample out-of-school time program, so it contains some customized features. But mostly the stuff that I'm going to cover is everything you would need for your 21C reporting. And as Adira mentioned, since PPIX is no longer going to be around, we will definitely be making updates to the system accordingly with any new requirements that come into play. But basically, the system that I'm going to cover is going to show you how to enroll your participants into the system, set up your group activities, take attendance for those activities, and then covers a bit of reporting as well as APR reports. I'm going to go ahead and leave questions for the end. Feel free to type in that chat box if you want to make a note of your questions, and then Indira and I will go ahead and cover those at the end. So to get started, I'm going to start off with the site page. So we usually have our users have a site coordinator. So this is a site level view. If you have multiple sites, like you have reporting for more than one school site, you'll have a login that'll take you to an admin list, which gives you options for different sites. So this one took me directly to a service site. Yours would give you an admin option, which you can go into each site separately. You would host your participants for each school separately, so data is not shared across the site, so that you can keep that information confidential and separate throughout the school. And then you can run separate APR reports for each site. So then we advise that everybody fill out this main homepage so that whenever we get calls, we can refer users to their site coordinator. So when you log in, this is the first thing you see. And then the second thing I usually have users or site coordinators do is go ahead and set up user accounts. So if you click on the user accounts tab, you'll notice these are some temporary accounts that we've set up. The nice thing is there's different levels of access that you can give to users in our database. So if you click on Add User, you create their username, all their information. There's different levels of access, so a power user has access to create additional accounts for this site. A regular user just has access to the system but does not create user accounts. And the attendance-only user has access to just the group services and the help center. So they see no participant level data. They see none of the information that's related to the participant. They're just able to take attendance for participants. Once you're done setting up the user accounts, I usually advise to go ahead and take a look at the Help Center. There's a lot of useful information in the Help Center. A lot of it's probably overwhelming just because there's so much there, but the main one that I want to look at today that we'll be covering is the getting started with the APRs. Let's see if this will load. Yes. So the getting started with the APR is pretty much a user guide for our system for the APRs. It you pretty much all the reports that you need to run step by step. Since these reports maybe, or since CTIX will be around and this may be changing, I won't be spending too much time covering this. But basically it's all the step-by-step instructions. In addition to this, like Loris mentioned, we have a help desk. And you can call, it's a toll-free number. We are here 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And someone usually picks up on the first ring, and if not, then we usually get back to you within the hour. You can call us with any technical questions that you're having navigating the system, and they will walk you through the process. We also have a handy-dandy user guide that's available, and it's got step-by-step instructions on how to enroll participants. Pretty much the information that I'm going to cover today. But if you have any additional questions, we can provide this login to you, and you can play around with it, and then you can always refer to the user guide, which has step-by-step instructions for each section. And the last one that I want to go over is the issue tracker. So if you call and it's outside of the 9 to 5 Pacific time frame, you can post an issue on our issue tracker, and it shoots an email to our help desk, and we respond within 24 hours. So if it's not something that's urgent that you want to be able to, that you want to call for, you can shoot us an email and we get back to you. Our biggest thing is being able to help our users in any way possible, so whether it's over the phone or if you prefer email, both of the options are available to you. So I'll go ahead and start showing you what the system is and how it works. So the participants and staff module is where you're going to be doing a bunch of your record enrollment. So there's different types of records. There's youth, adults, program staff, volunteers, families. 21C doesn't really use, so I'll basically be covering mostly the youth records. So if you go into the system, because those of you, if you sign on with us, it's going to be a new database. To search for a participant, you would enter it here, but to add a person, you would click Add Person. You would click Use, and then you would enter the name of the participant that you want to add to the system. And then it added the participant for you. You can continue adding, or you can view the record. So I'm going to go ahead and click on View Record. This is what our 21C registration form looks like. And it has pretty much all of the required fields that are required by the APR for a youth participant. So it's nice because it's all in one place, and it does check for you to make sure you're not missing any of this required information. And I'll go ahead and show that to you in report. But pretty much the information down from first name down to date enrolled is required. It might be a little bit different for Iowa, I'm not sure. But for this database, definitely they wanted required 21C fields to be this section here, and it all pulls into the APR report. The additional information, like Loris mentioned, like here is family information. You can add additional fields that if maybe your school's track that are not in the database. We are definitely customizable. We have a lot of clients that use us for 21C, but then also add separate fields to the system because they need to track additional information like allergies of students, pickup information like who's authorized to pick up a student after school, or just customizations like that we can easily add to your database. And then again, there's information like consents. You can upload medical waivers, consent dates, and also click photo of your participant. So this is just what the 21C basic form looks like. Form 2, again, is like the pickup information, additional information that you could track. Again, highly customizable. Families is if you wanted to start linking students to a family. It's not usually in the 21C system, like I mentioned, but it is available for you if it's something that you want to go ahead and pursue. This is one level of enrollment, so you can enroll a participant through this level into activities. But I'm going to cover the other method first, and then I'll go back to this just so it makes a little bit more sense. But this is a level that you can do reporting for enrollment. These are some basic reports that we have set up on the participant level. So again, we're in the participant record for Jane Doe. So the reports that you run here will basically only show you data for that participant. So it's nice if you're just trying to check up on a participant and see how many sessions have they been attending, what are the timings of those sessions, or by service, how many sessions they've attended. These are nice reports which you can run separately for each participant. Since this person's not enrolled, if I ran a report, you wouldn't see any data. Surveys, so teacher surveys, I can kind of show you what a teacher survey looks like. This is the basic information that's here. Usually, most of our clients customize the survey, so if they want to track separate information, they let us know which fields to add, what to put in the drop-downs. We can definitely add that for you, and then we update the reporting so that it matches with what's on your actual survey. And then clicking on View Persons would take you back to the participants and staff screen. So the method of adding a participant is basically clicking on Add Person, selecting the type of participant, entering their information. I'm going to go ahead and show you what the staff form also looks like. So if you click on View Use Participants, you'll see all the participants that have been added into the system. And the difference between active and inactive is nice because you don't ever delete anyone from the system. You can, like, Laura's mentioned, is they've been using us for multiple years, but throughout those 10 years, I'm sure people have graduated or moved on. So you can set participants to inactive, and it saves all of their data in the system. It just hides them from view so that you don't have to look at them every time. So you can see in this case, there's about 600 inactive, but each of them have their attendance and their data stored in the system, and you don't have to, try to keep track of all of that. It's all already done for you within the system. So that's what the staff looks like. And then for program staff, I'm going to show you what the form looks like. Again, for program staff, they have separate required fields. So first name, last name, the type of staff, the enrollment type, and if they're funded directly by 21C. Again, this information directly pulls into the reporting. And so once you filled it out here, you'll see it reflected in APR reports. So you're not missing any information, or if you're keeping track of things in Excel or just by paper, the nice thing with the system is it consolidates everything for you. It does sanity checks to make sure you have all of it filled out so that when it comes to being funded, you're not excluding someone that should be included and you should be getting funding for. So that is staff. And then just to look at the adult form, again, you can add all these participant types separately, and you'll see the separate fields that are required for each one. So for adults, the difference is related to a youth participant that also receives 21C services. And then you'll see there's some demographic information, emergency contacts, and this information obviously is not required. It's just information that if you wish to track, or if your site wishes for you to track, it's a good place to track it and have it in one place. And the volunteers form pretty much looks the same too, with exceptions of what is required. And so that is pretty much how we enroll participants into the system. So enrolling them into the system is the first step, and then enrolling them into activity that you create is the second step. So it's kind of like with school where kids have to register into the system. We need all their basic information before we enroll them into their classes. So that's how this system works. There's an option of uploading participant data. So if you have like 100, 200 participants, you have the option of, we can send you a template for the required fields or any field that you actually want to upload. So let's say you wanted to upload basically the required fields. I would send you a template for that. You would fill it out for your participants. Even if you have multiple sites, you can put all of it on one Excel template. You just tell it which site this person needs to get uploaded to, and then we do a bulk upload for you. So that is also an option if you wish to do it that way instead of doing manual data entry. Depending on if you have a data entry staff person or not. So that's how we usually go about registering students into the system. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the group activities portion. So this is where you'll spend a bulk of your time after you've entered all your participants into the system. Group activities is where you're going to create the activities, you're going to enroll all your participants that you've just entered into the database, and then take attendance for those participants. So these are some sample activities that you can see we've used in demos. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through creating an activity. And so an activity, a program, however you want to label it, or whatever term you use, is pretty much, this is the area that you're going to track it. Again, like I mentioned before, this says current term. It's nice because it narrows it down for you to the current term that you're using now. So if your school year runs from 7/1/2014 to 6/30/2015, we can update this under utilities where it says set service term. It actually lets you update it yourself, and it does it site-wide. So if I entered 7/1/2014 to 6/30/2015, let's say this is our new term, it'll say this is a new term. If you click group activities, you'll notice it narrows down all the activities that only take place between this term. If I change this to all, I see all my previous activities. So all your data is stored in the database, so you don't have anything to worry about if you if 2 years from now you get audited and you need to run reports, you have all that information here. You can go back to APR reports, run your reports for the date range that is reflected by the feds. So going back to the current term, go ahead and click on Add Activity to create a program activity. So let's say it's going to be called Academic Club. And let's say it is a 21C funded activity, so you can actually track non-21st century activities. So if you have programs that you want to track attendance for, you can definitely do that here. And once you select this button, it won't include it in your APRs, so that's nice. But if it, for the purpose of 21C, we're going to say it's a 21C activity. Group activities, this is going to be an end-to activity where we're going to enroll participants and take attendance for them. The difference between a group and an event is, for events, it's like field trips or camps, where you just need to enter a whole number, like 100 students attended or 100 people attended. You would set it up as an event. But for the purposes of APR reporting, we're going to create a group activity for which we're going to record attendance. Go ahead and click on Save and Proceed. And you'll notice this is all the required information that 21C asks for. So once you've created the activity name, it appears up here, Academic Club. You're going to go ahead and click Edit next to Category. Let's say it's Academic Enrichment Learning Programs. You can only select one. It reminds you because that's the requirement on PPICS. And student population targeted, you can select more than one. Subject areas, let's say it's going to be all of the subject areas for academic learning. And then click on Save and Proceed, and you'll notice all the information populates here. And then you can check this with the reporting. It'll pull all of these. It'll pull any activity when you run the APR report for categories. It'll make sure to pull the correct ones that you've selected in the system. The next part is going to go ahead and create the schedule. So if you click Edit next to Schedule, we're going to add multiple dates to the schedule. So let's say this program runs from July 1st to the end of the year. And then it's going to be Mondays and Wednesdays. So right now it's in 15-minute increments. You can have this changed to 5-minute increments if you want, but just by standard we have it at the 15-minute increment level. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on Add Multiple Dates once I've chosen my schedule, and then you'll see that it creates the schedule for you. Now you'll notice since I put the beginning of July until the end of December, there's a lot of holidays that come up. So you can either go in and delete the holidays. So I believe in December there's going to be a couple holidays. If I go to the next page here, if I know that December 31st or Wednesday, December 24th, there won't be any classes held, I would just click on the dates and click on Delete Selected. And then this always, when you try to delete something from the system, it always gives you a warning that you're permanently deleting data. Luckily, it'll tell you if there's any present records associated with it. So since you know there's no attendance marked on this date, you can click on Confirm Delete. And then it goes ahead and removes those dates from your schedule. So you'll notice they're no longer there. So once I've gone ahead and created the schedule, you'll notice I like to work from top to bottom. So the schedule part is complete. I'll go ahead and assign staff to this activity. And staff, again, this will pull from the list that you've entered here. So if you have staff members entered into the system, they'll automatically populate here, and you just need to assign staff to the activity. So we have staff. And so I went ahead and assigned the staff members. Go ahead and click on Return. Partners, I like to also go here and create a partner. So these are pulling from the partners list here, but I just like using the actual activity level. So you can actually have a link to create more partners here, and it takes you to the same screen that it would take you to here. So if you need to add additional partners, different schools, or whatever it may be, this is where you would do that. And these are all the required fields for a partner. So let's say So you'll see Jones Elementary come up in the drop-down list, and then you can assign the partner to this activity. And you can select if it's a funder or a service provider. I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. So we're nearing the end. So if you go to location, you can assign a location. And again, this is pulled from facility. So there's separate places where you can bulk add everything and then do your activities, or you can do it while you're in the activity. Again, there's a link here. Click here to create more locations. And this is where you would add a location. It takes place in homeroom. And go ahead and click on create. So the only required field here is location. So go ahead and click on return. And then you'll see that homeroom is assigned as a location. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And now I've assigned it as a location. Service description is optional. You can add any sort of service description that you need. But it's not a required field. Launch card scanner, this is if you opt to do card scanning. So if you have ID cards that you want to use to scan your students into activities, versus we have attendance sheets that we also provide with barcodes. If you purchase barcode scanners for your site, then card scanner would be, since there's no scheduled service for today. It won't show up, but let me add actually a service for today so I can show you what the schedule actually looks like. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the general info page. So this is what it looks like, and then when you scan the attendance sheet, which I'll show you in a little bit, you'll get an idea of what the barcode is, and then it'll automatically mark your students present. So we went ahead and set up this general information for this actual program that runs from July to December. It has mixed timings. And now we have to go ahead and enroll participants. So if you click on the enrollment tab, you can click here to enroll new participants. I like to click on all just so I can see all the participants in the system, and then I can select off which ones I want to enroll. So this is one of the methods that you can use to enroll participants. Another method is to use the query tool that we have, or find by name. Obviously you can search by Aaron and look for the participant and it would show the result. But when you're first setting up an activity, you're usually putting a lot of students in it. So if you click on all, it'll show all your active participants. If your active participants list is really long, you can use query, which is our query tool that we've built into the system. So let's say you only want to enroll grades 1 through 7 or 1 through 8 into the system. So you would click on those 8 grade levels, click on Find Person. It'll show you everybody that's marked in 7th or 8 or grades 1 through 8. So there's about 40 people. So if you click on Return, and then you'll see that it's selected the query of 40 people. So if you click on Return again, you'll end up on this page. And then out of the 40, these are the ones that are actually active in the database. So that's why it's showing you this list. So if you want to enroll all of them, we're going to click on All here, and then Next Step. And then the default date is the start date of the activity, but let's say that Lily isn't going to start until the 31st. So then I could change her date manually here. And then on the actual attendance screen, you'll notice that she's not going to show up on the attendance sheet until July 31st. So if you click Next Step, it's going to confirm that you've enrolled all these participants into the activity. So click on Done, and then Return, since I'm not enrolling any more participants. So 16 people were enrolled into the activity successfully. Now I want to take attendance for those people. So I'm going to click on the Attendance tab, and it's going to pretty much show you all the dates through today. But if you want to view all dates, you can click here where it says All Dates, and then you see all the dates that you've scheduled. And then you'll notice it jumps up from 14 to 16 people after July 31st, as those 2 participants did not begin the activity until July 31st. So we'll click on July 2nd. These are the staff members that were out of the ones that we've enrolled. I didn't realize that more staff. But yes, you can take attendance for the staff members since they were enrolled into the activity. This is separate than the staff member we assign. But if you click All Present, it'll mark everybody present. If you want to change the time, let's say Felipe didn't show up until later, you can click on the 9 a.m. and adjust the time accordingly. Let's say they came in late at 10:15. Same goes with students. If they left early, you can click on the time and adjust it. 10:30, and then click on Save and Next Day. And then it automatically puts unknown, but you can set all present, mark whoever was absent, absent, and then Save and Next Day. And let's say we're done for now. And so if I click on Return, you'll see 14 out of 14 bubbles were marked. So this means you completed 14 out of the 14. Doesn't necessarily mean it was 14 present, because you saw that I marked some people absent on the second day. So that is how you go about taking attendance. And then if you click on Reports, you can run separate reports for this activity. It's just this activity alone. So like I mentioned, there's a single day attendance sheet. So you can print it with barcodes if you choose to run it and have barcode scanners. These barcode scanners, when you print it, if you purchase barcodes, if you scan it, it would automatically mark those bubbles for you that we just marked manually. So that is another option that you can use. It's for taking attendance. But as you can see, it lists all the people that we have enrolled. There's a present and absent column, signature column. This is our standard single-day attendance sheet. It can be customized in any way that you need. The nice thing is when you mark all of them present, and you scan this barcode here, it marks everybody else absent. So this is for 722. So that's one of the reports that you can run on the site level. And then print to mail mode labels is something that our participant or our users enjoy using, because they can print out mailing labels just for participants in a specific activity and then stick them onto anything that they need to send out. I know I covered that pretty quick, since I know we don't have that much time and I want to leave time for questions. But if you click on group activities again, you'll notice that the activity that I created is here. I can click into it, and then pretty much all the information is filled out. So when I go in on a regular basis, I would just click on the activity, click on attendance, and then click on the date that I want to take attendance for, and then I'm pretty much done. So the bulk of the work is just setting up the activity, but once you're done with that, on a daily basis or a weekly basis, however you take attendance, all you really need to do is click on the activity name and then click on the attendance tab. Another option for taking attendance is if you have multiple activities scheduled on the same day. So if you notice these two activities, they have overlapping dates. If you click on where it says View by Date, you can go into an activities, let's say 729, and it'll show you any activity that overlaps. So there's an activity called Dancy and an activity called 1415 Test Activity, and you can take activity attendance for all those participants here. So I'm going to click All Present, and you'll notice it'll populate when I show you. So 1415 Test Activity and Dancy. So we'll do Save, and Bob Dana was marked present on July 29th. So if you go to attendance here, you'll see for 29th, they were marked present. And then if you go to the other activity, attendance for July 29th, they were all marked present here as well. So that's a really useful tool that people like to use in order to take attendance, because it's quicker than any of the other methods. You don't have to go into each activity. If I can walk you through what an event looks like. So when we added an activity, we created it by group. I'm going to just show you what an event looks like. So if you go to Group Activities, View Events, there's some events up and have been set up. So let's say the tennis event. Again, you would fill out all of the information just that you did for group activities. The only difference is event attendance here, and you'll notice there's only a general info tab and no enrollment, no attendance. If you click Edit, you just enter the number of people that were present, and then you'll see that it populates here. Again, schedule would have to be associated with the actual event. So that's the difference between events as well as group activities. Another module for 21C is the individual activities. So if you click on individual activities, you'll see these are some that have been set up. You'll notice the method is the same for all of them. Homework count, 21C. It's pretty much self-explanatory. It's really user-friendly. It's easy to use. Again, you would mark all of the information that's relevant here. I'm going to just go ahead and mark the staff. And then in order to take attendance, you're going to mark attendance and click on Add. So this is for one-on-one activities. So it would be a staff person, let's say it was, today's date, and then I met with them for 60 minutes for homework help, and then it was with Rokio and then add record. So you can click here to edit details. You can add notes about the visit. Section is also customizable, so you can have additional details, additional fields, whatever you wish to add in the individual activities section. So if you go back into it, you'll notice. I think, did I not add it in this one? Oh, it was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There we go. Yeah, so you'll see that it comes up for 60 minutes, and you can sort by participants, and this updates based off of the number of sessions that you add. So these are for one-on-one sessions. Case management is a customized section that you can add. It's not relevant to 21C, but just so you can take a look at what it looks like, I'll go into a case management section. So this is like for adding certain service categories. You can add minutes to it, and then as well as notes and reasons. So this section, again, is customizable if it's relevant to your site needs. Assessments, you can add different types of assessments, and these relate to the 21C. So I'm going to go ahead and go over an assessment that exists. So you can add definitions here for each assessment. You would put in the name, the type of assessment, usually it's grades, and then subject, the grading scale, let's say it was math. So you would add all your assessments for fall as well as spring in this assessment. So let's say for 2013-14. So it's been created. When you go into results, you're going to go and enter by assessment. So let's say everybody took an assessment today, and then I would enter, and then let's say the same person took an assessment next year that you want to compare. So then you would enter the same person's, I think it was Erin Jones, I can't remember, Erin. And then you would click on save and enter another. Going back to assessments, you'll see the one that I've created. I have two result counts. I would enter it into the same one because I want to compare those values in my APR reports. That is the basic entry way for assessments. You can do different types. There is, I believe, even state assessments. You have state assessments, grades, proficiency levels, scores, so anything that you're tracking. Again, we can add additional assessment types based on your needs. Surveys we covered is pretty much the teacher survey that I showed you. This is just another level of being able to view it. And partners and facilities we also covered through the site level. But this is a nice place you can go to view all of the partners and lists. And then facilities is here. All of the locations that we assigned, like homeroom to the group activity. I want to spend some time on reports. And so the best thing, I guess, about what I like the most about eServices.net, aside from it just having all your data in one place, is the reporting that you can get out of it. So if you want to see participants who are missing attendance or services with missing attendance, you can just click on a report, enter the date range that you're looking for. And then click on yes, generate the report. You'll see all of the dates as well as the activities, so you can go directly to the activity. What I even like to do is just have it up. You can see that it says 14-15 test activity, and it tells you the exact dates that are missing attendance. So I can go into the actual date and just mark attendance for the ones that I know are missing it, and tells you percentages as well. And this is by service. You can also run a report by participant, so it would give you the participant name that is missing attendance. Another useful thing is the attendance data export. This will export all of the attendance data that you've actually entered into the system. And so that's a nice thing because it's an Excel and it's something that you can export and save to your desktop. I covered some of the attendance sheets as well as the query tool. Another nice thing is the custom report builder. So all of the information that you're going to upload to the system or enter manually into the system, you can export out of it in Excel, and you can filter based off of the query, or you can just have all the active persons. And so it's nice if you have parents coming to pick up students and you need to know quickly, like, what is the first, the name of the ones that are authorized to pick up the students. You can export this data and have it ready for staff just so they have it there and they can reference it really quickly in situations like that. So as you can see here, when you click on Next Step, it allows you to export all of this data in Excel or web. I have run some exports that I'll show you already. I think it might, let me see if it'll work. Okay, here. Oh, so you can see all the fields that I selected nicely come out into an Excel document that you can use. The next thing I want to show you is the APR reports. So in addition to the annual performance reports that you have all seen, these line up pretty much exactly with what's in PPICS. I'll run one of them for you to show you kind of an idea. The monitoring reports is what I think is what I find most useful. So regular attendee data tells you everybody that's attended. It only includes participants that have actually attended 30 days or more because that's when they're considered a regular attendee. It asks you to enter all these parameters. I went ahead and already generated one for you so we can take a look. So this is the regular attendee data. It'll tell you how many summer days they've attended versus school year days and the grade level that they're actually in. Another report is the APR checklist, which is one of my favorite reports. It gives you all of the information and makes sure that you're including everything that you need. So I ran it for you already. So it'll tell you students that are being included and why. So this one says Aaron is not being included because he's only attended 20 days and the minimum is 30. And then if you scroll to the bottom, all the notes will tell you why they're being excluded or what's going on for that column. So some of the nice things is students. It'll tell you all the students being excluded or included during the begin and end date that you've entered. Adults that are being included or excluded and why. So like I mentioned earlier, that required field that asks, is this person related to students that receive funding? And then it says no. And so this information is being exported here. And then same goes for staff, as well as activities in the report. Again, this report period that I've entered is just random date range, but it'll tell you activities within that date range, and then it'll also tell you if they have attendance, if they're 21C. Pretty much what you do is just copy and paste the data over into PPICS, since they're not using that anymore. We'll update this based off of what our system it is updated to, but all the information pulls from your database and it reflects all the data that you've done or the entry that you've done throughout the year. And it's nice because it breaks it down exactly how it is requested on the PPICS system. So you can see that it lines up well. And so I'm not going to cover the other ones because I know it's probably not going to be used in the future. Another nice one is the exclusion report. it will show you everything that's being excluded and as well as why. So the monitoring reports is what I find most helpful because the APR reports are pretty much going to tell you what to put into PPIX, but for the monitoring reports, it'll tell you exactly why, what you need to fix, data that's missing, and as well as the reports of missing attendance. Those are really helpful in telling you data that's missing. So it tells you excluded because they were not assigned to services with present attendance, excluded because they don't have categories marked. So you can go in and fix this information when you go to group activities, college and career prep. You would mark a category, and then you would notice when you rerun this report that information would be removed because it's actually including it. So it's nice little sanity checks that it does. Utilities, again, I walked you through how to update schedules and remove holidays. There's actually a way to do it here when you could bulk schedule date delete. If I wanted to delete all the schedules that happened on December 31st, I would find services. It would tell me these are the services. I can delete dates. So this area is nice. It's more of when you roll over activities and things like that. There is advancing purchasing grades. So this is all end of the year stuff that's not really relevant. Just some additional information that I wanted to give you is that, again, the system is highly customizable. So in addition to your 21C reporting, if there's anything else that you want to report on, we can definitely do that for you. Some clients that we work with, the entire state of Louisiana, the state of North Dakota, majority of the districts in New York City, we work with Chicago Public Schools. So we have a lot of clients, and they have been using the system for quite a few years. And a couple of them that are 21C have customized their system as well to track additional needs that they may have. And so you can definitely do that as well. And so now I want to go ahead and open up any time that we have for questions.
And it looks like we have a couple of questions here in the chat box too. And also, Loris, if you would, comment a little bit about how this program has been beneficial to 21C VOC in Clinton.
I kind of mentioned it maybe briefly at the start. We just, what Shanalia pointed out, the reporting, the ease of it, I guess, getting the information that you need, for the APR, just basically within seconds usually. And it saves us a lot of time and effort there, so it's made our reporting time and efforts much easier over the years. And a lot of the extra information that's not necessarily required by the APR, my boss, the superintendent, wants to report an attendance report, on a particular activity or from a particular school, I can pull it up within minutes and give it to them. So the staff here has commented too how easy it is to use. Once, I do want to say they do provide our youth services that provide us some training. The staff person has to get in there and just play with it and get into it. And it doesn't take very long to catch on to the basics of it. Once you get the basics of it, it's, I think a lot of fun to use and very easy to use. So that's helped our reporting efforts over the years, whether that be for the APR and the feds, or if it's just, if my boss wants one, or the superintendent wants me to do a report to the school board, it's very easy to get information here in a heartbeat. So again, I guess just the ease of use and all the features that it has has really, made it easy for us and good for us to use over the years.
Great. And it looks like our first question in the chat box is from Jessica. She's asking if students can register online.
So usually it's school level staff, like admin staff, that enroll students and take attendance for them. We don't usually have students register directly into the system to take their own attendance. It's usually done through the staff level account.
I do want to mention too, like we have 6 sites, and our site staff, each site staff is responsible for entering their own data, and they can only have access to their particular site. So that site's information remains confidential. Myself and my clerical assistant who helps do the APR reports have access to any of the sites at any time if we need to do reports such as the APR.
Yeah, and you can take a look. This is what a site list looks like if you have access to multiple sites. There's admin level reports for users like Laura, where they can run compliance reports on an admin level where it would incorporate all the data across all sites.
Okay, and then we have
and then
some
somebody else
questions
asked,
from Christine. She's asking, she says, I would like to have it set up where the students click on or in when they get their snack. Is that possible? And then the other question is...
Yes. Sorry, yeah. So it is possible. What we usually do is if you look on the screen where it says present, we usually have clients that it says present with snack, absent with snack, or present, and then maybe be a separate column for present with snack. So we can customize it that way, and we have clients that actually track the snack, so that is definitely something that we can add to your system.
She also says she's in the works of setting up an interactive website for parents. Would any of this apply there?
So, I mean, again, it goes with, usually the accounts are admin level users, so I haven't had parents actually have direct access. We have clients such as Chicago that do have parents that log in for, but their system is totally a customized database. It's not really for 21C. So in the purposes of 21C, we usually just have admin level staff or just site level site coordinators log in and set up their system and take attendance.
Okay. The next question is, will this system talk with PowerSchool?
I'm not really familiar with PowerSchool. I'm assuming I was looking it up. Is it like another software, or did you want to export data from them and then upload it to our system? I'm not really sure. It depends on what that is.
It looks like Jessica's typing. In the meantime, Jenna asked, what is the cost, and is it per site? Is it a straight yearly fee, or how does that work?
Yeah, so for just the basic 21C database that you see here, which includes all of these, like pretty much what we covered, the participants, their activities, enrollment, and reporting and everything, the 21C site license fee is $500 per site per year. So if you have one site, then you would basically just pay the $500 fee. If you have, I think there's a number, if you have more than a specific number of sites, you can get a discount. But if it's just one site that you want to set up, then it's $500 per site per year. There's no charge for like the number of users or the number of participants or anything like that. It's just a flat fee, and that includes our help desk, which is staffed 9 to 5 days a week, as well as any sort of, the help center from the issue tracker and all of that. So I don't know if they still have additional questions, but we'll wait a little bit.
We'll give it just another minute. Looks like we had some people typing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so PowerSchool is the database system for school day. They would like to export and import data between the two.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, if it's just participant data versus attendance data, usually we don't do attendance data uploads, but participant data you can export from them and then we can upload into our system. We can just map the information. Like, it seems like they track grades and things like that. So we can update. We've uploaded assessments before too, so it just kind of depends. We can work with you directly on any sort of customizations like that. And you can export most of the stuff from our system. So when you enter anything like the participant data, the attendance, like I showed you, you can export it. So you would then use that, I guess, to import into the other system if you needed to use it that way. Yeah, you can definitely contact me. I'll send Indira my contact, or she has my contact information, and I can have her forward it, and you can contact me directly for any questions that you may have about purchasing. No problem.
Great.
Seems like we have one more question coming. And then if you come up with questions later as well, feel free to go ahead and contact me. And I can either give you a call or I can respond via email, whatever works for you.
Yes, so we'll go ahead and following this webinar, we will, once we have the recording available, we'll get it posted, and then I'll send that out to the group along with your contact information.
Okay, awesome. That sounds good.
And it looks like Vic is typing. He is our lead for 21st Century at the Iowa Department of Education.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Vic.
Okay.
And thank you, Shamila. I really appreciate your presentation. Thanks, Loris, for also being on the call. And if you have any other questions, go ahead and either forward them to me, or I will get Shamila's information out to everybody so that you can forward them directly to her. Thank you for being on the webinar today. I will go ahead and end the recording here.